Hello friends and welcome. In this Math Olympiad question, you are going to learn how to solve questions on a topic combinatorics. And this is in particular what we call the permutation. Permutation simply means arrangement of items. And in this case, we have it generally that permutation is given as n permutation r is n factorial over n minus r factorial. This is the formula. Okay. Now, this symbol factorial means to decrease a number by one, and the result you have you represent in a product form. So what it means is that if I have 4 factorial, I'm going to have it as 4, decrease this by 1, you have 3, decrease this by 1, we have 2, decrease by 1, you have 1. When you get to 1, you stop. So if you multiply this, it gives you 24. Okay, now supposing we want to find 4 permutation 2, what does it mean? It means we are going to have, using this formula, it will be 4 factorial over 4, our r is 2 factorial. And this will give you 4 factorial over, if you subtract this, it gives you factorial. Now remember that when you have not decreased to 1, you are not supposed to remove the factorial symbol. Meaning if you have 4 factorial, you can write it like this. And because we didn't stop at 1, you return your factorial symbol. So this is going to guide us in answering this question. Also note that if you have 1:3, it means 1 is divided by 3 or 1 divided by 3 in this form. So let's apply all this in this question and let's see what we have. So to answer this, you are going to have solution. So this, using this formula in this question, we are going to say that our n from here is 2n plus 1 and our r is n minus 1. So let's apply it in this formula. We're going to have 2n plus 1 factorial over our n is still 2n plus 1 minus our r is n minus 1. Did you see that? So we're going to use big parentheses to separate it from this. Then this symbol ratio, we are turning it to division. So we have divided by, this will give us here, this is our n, and this will become our r. So use this formula also. We're going to have 2n minus 1 factorial over, we're going to have 2n minus 1 minus this, our r is n. Okay, factorial is equal to, this will give us 3 over 5. So let's simplify again to have 2n plus 1 factorial all over, expand the bracket, we have 2n plus 1. This negative sign will affect the values inside, and if it opens up, it gives you negative n. If you use it here, it will give you positive 1, all in bracket factorial, divided by, this will give us 2n minus 1 factorial over, this is 2n minus 1 minus n factorial is equal to 3 over 5. So at this point, what do we do again? We're going to have 2n plus 1 factorial over 2n minus, this will give us n, 1 plus 1 is 2 factorial, divided by, at this point we can choose to change this division to multiplication and you reverse what you have. This goes up and this comes down. So this is giving us 2n minus n is n. So we have n minus 1 factorial all over. Bring this down. We have 2n minus 1 factorial is equal to 3 over 5. So you see we are simplifying it. Now at this point, when you look at this, you are supposed to cancel out something, but there is nothing similar to cancel out. Remember that we said in factorial that the factorial symbol shows decreasing values or decreased numbers in their product form. So in that case, the question is, are we to decrease this? Because if you look at this, this is 2n plus 1 and this is 2n minus 1. They are somehow close, but they are not that actually the same. So what you ask yourself is, should I decrease this to get a number that is similar to this? Or should I decrease this to get a number that is similar to this? I'm going to answer that question. Now let's check for 2n minus 1 factorial. If you are decreasing it, remember we said 4 factorial is 4 times 3. You keep decreasing, okay? So this will give us 2n minus 1, the first number. You decrease it, you have 2n minus 1 decreased by 1 will give us 2n minus 2. If you decrease by 1 again, you have 2n minus 3. You see, you are moving away from a number that will be similar to this. So in that case, it means this cannot go. So let's try the numerator, okay? So we cancel this. Let's try the numerator. So for the numerator, what we have there is 2n plus 1. That's the first value. Decreased by 1, we have 2n plus 1 minus 1. And this we cancel, we have 2n. Decrease this 2n again by 1, we have 2n minus 1. You see, we've gotten something like this. So we are going to return the factorial symbol because we didn't stop at 1, like I told you, okay? So in this case, we have all over, this is n plus 2 factorial is multiplying n minus 1 factorial over 2n minus 1 factorial is equal to 3 over 5. So you see, this can now cancel this. We are left with 2n plus 1, 2n, all over n plus 2 factorial multiplied by n minus 1 factorial over 1 is equal to 3 over 5. So which one again do we decrease? This and this are related. So like we have seen it, we cannot decrease this because decreasing takes it away from what we want. So let's decrease the denominator. So we're going to have 2n plus 1 and 2n all over. This is n plus 2. If you decrease it, you have n plus 1. Decrease this, you have n. Decrease this, you have n minus 1 factorial. Did you see that? Multiply by n minus 1 factorial over 1 is equal to 3 over 5. So we cancel out this factorial. So we are left with this. We now multiply this to give us 4n squared. Use it also here. We have 2n all over. Multiply this, we have n squared. This will also multiply this to give us n. Do this here, we have 2n. Do the same here, we have 2. All is being multiplied by n. If this has cancelled, we are left with 3 over 5. So at this point, we keep simplifying till we get the result. So what we do here is, again, we are going to have 4n squared plus 2n over. This n, we multiply everything in the brackets. We have n multiplies this, will give us n cubed. If you add this, it gives you 3n. Multiply it by n, you have 3n squared. Multiply 2 by n, we have 2n is equal to 3 over 5. So you can cross multiply. 5 multiplies this is 20n squared. 5 multiplies this is 10n, okay? Is equal to, what do we do again? This will give us, 3 multiplies this will give us 3n cubed. And 3 multiplies will give us 9n squared. 3 multiplies will give us 6n. This being equal to this is the same as writing it as 3n cubed plus 9n squared plus 6n is equal to 20n squared plus 10n. This is the same with this. So you see, it's leading to the highest power is 3, so it's cubic. So let's gather it together. We are having 3n cubed plus 9n squared. This is positive, so you subtract, okay? Plus 6n, this is positive, you subtract, is equal to 0. So we have 3n cubed, subtract this, you have negative 11 squared, plus this will give us negative 4n is equal to 0. So you see, we've gotten a cubic equation. But when you look at this cubic equation, we can factor something out to reduce the work. So in that case, this is what we are going to do now. So we're going to have factor n out here. It will give us n into n divides this will give us 3n squared. Divides this will give us negative 11n. This will give us negative 4 is equal to 0. So you see, we've reduced it. So what it means is that n is 0, or 3n squared minus 11n minus 4 is 0. So let's solve this. This is now quadratic because the highest power is 2. So you can have any method, but we're using factoring method. So in this case, we have 3n squared minus 11n minus 4 is 0. Use this to multiply. We have negative 12. So what two numbers which are factors of 12 that you can multiply to give you this? When you add it, it gives you negative 11. When you multiply, you get this. So those numbers are negative 12 and positive 1. So we're going to use it here to have 3n squared. Replace this with these two factors. We have this plus 1n negative 4 is equal to 0. So from here now, you gather these two together. What is common is 3n. Factor it. If you divide this, you have n. If you divide this, you have negative 4. Here, what is common is 1. Factor it, you have n minus 4 is equal to 0. So let's take these two together. We're going to have 3n plus 1. These two are the same, so take one of it is equal to 0. So at this point, what do? You've noticed that what we do there is we are going to now get the actual value of n. So the actual value of n from when we have 3n plus 1 equal to 0 is 3n, subtract 1 from both sides, then divide by the coefficient. So n will give us negative 1 over 3. Then for here, we have n minus 4 is equal to 0. Add 4 to both sides, n will be 4. Remember, we have said earlier that n is equal to 0. So you see the three values of n are this. But the question is, which of them is suitable in the question? N cannot be negative, so it's off. Okay? Now let's test for when n is 4 and 0. Let's test for when it is 0. So we're going to do a check to see. If we do a check, if you put n as 0, watch this. If n is 0 here, we're going to have n minus 1 will be 0 minus 1 to give us negative 1. Okay, so if we cannot have p negative 1 here, did you see that? So it cannot be negative. In that case, this is also off. So what it means is that if you put in the value of n as 4, we're going to have 2 multiply 4 plus 1 will give us 2 multiplies 4 is this, which will give us 9. And for here, we are having 4 minus 1 will give us 3, which is 9 permutation 3. And ratio, this will give us, if you put n as 4, 2 times 4 will give us 8 minus 1 will give us 7 permutation 4. Did you see that? So you are going to do it for me. Check the value of 9 permutation 3 ratio this. Will they give you the same as? Remember, the ratio is the same as division. Okay? Get the value of this, divide it by this. Let's know if you give us this as an answer. Let's know your answer about that in the comment section. And I hope this really helps you a lot. If it did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Let's know how much helpful it is in the comment section. You can subscribe for the more you will get. And remember, I will see you in our next class to discuss more. And bye-bye.